Hello, everybody. Welcome.
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 Velkommen.
Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. It is the show on Wednesday. Oh, it may be 2 a.m., Nihilus,
Whoa.
but don't you worry.
Nihilus. Holy cow. I haven't seen you in forever.
I don't know, it's been a long time.
Man, I hope you're doing awesome.
Hmm. It's awesome to see you, that's for sure.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Hey, we made it. Kendra, I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad you can make it. I'm also glad you got to do
Hmm.
choir for a while, too. That is so cool, you know? I've,
Yeah.
I've gotten to be in choirs, and it's fun.
I've only been in like a ho dunk, like 3-person choir that no one had to show up to. It was
Oh,
for church.
hey, cool.
Yeah.
A three-person choir that nobody had to
A
show up to.
third person choir that was very unorganized. But anyways, yeah.
Nice.
Never been a part of a choir outside of that.
Hey, that's all right. So
Yeah.
welcome everybody. Welcome Kendra. Welcome Baron. Welcome Penny. Saule. Welcome all of you. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. Anyone who's
Yeah.
lurking, welcome as well. We're just gonna roll out the welcome wagon.
All right. Welcome, Joe. Welcome,
Welcome,
Ryan.
welcome. Yes, and Princess is not here yet. She will be joining us at some point.
Hmm.
She had today is a holy day for those of you who don't know.
Hmm.
Kendra, I'm pretty sure Kendra knows. Um, but yes, today's the feast day of the Immaculate Conception.
That's right.
Yes, and so Princess is cantoring at her mass, which is really awesome. That means she's leading the singing part of the mass.
Yes.
Um, so
Yeah. If
yeah,
you didn't say it, I was going to because that's not a word that people know,
I know.
tend to know.
Yeah,
Canter.
Princess is a cantor. Ryan's brother Kyle is a lector,
Hmm.
which means he reads the
Yeah. If
scriptures.
you know the word lector, also is the word for lectio, is also the word that ultimately turns into to lecture. It means to
Hmm.
read.
Yes.
It means to read.
Yes. And he's very good. I've gotten to experience his lecturing.
Oh, Kyle is one of the best lecturers I've
Mm-hmm.
ever. And he just kind of was like, he was born with that power.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, the first time he went up to lecture, everyone was like, whoa, I heard everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's good.
He's very articulate and he keeps it I watch when I watch him I watch his hand go like he keeps his place on the page with his hand so he doesn't mess it up, right? He's
Right.
very, very precise and very, very accurate and articulate, and he's got a voice that really carries through the
Yeah.
church.
And
That's
what's
pretty
really
cool.
nice is that the way he reads it, it's not like he's reading, it's like he, the way he reads it is in such a way that your brain is processing the information
Mm,
as opposed to just going, okay, that person is reading that, and you
right.
can hear the words but not process any of it,
Right.
you know.
Yep, you're absolutely right. So it's really cool. I've experienced good lectors and decent lectors. That's about it.
Oh my gosh, Baron, you showed your daughter Epic Origami Giraffe last night and she enjoyed it most heartedly. Awesome. Thank you. That's hilarious. Oh, that's
Yes,
funny.
that is cool. Oh, Kendra, I'm sorry to hear about your grandpa. Of course, we'll pray for your grandpa. He
Mm,
has pneumonia and is doing better, but the more prayers, the better. You
that's right.
betcha. You betcha.
Pneumonia's rough.
Mm-hmm. My youngest son had some bouts with pneumonia. That was a little bit
Mm.
scary. He ended up in the hospital for a while. So it can hit you pretty hard. Um,
I'll make sure I pray for him.
mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you for the prayer request. Now we've started
Yeah.
this. Oh, doctors say he might be released hopefully on Monday. Good.
Hmm.
Good. Um, yeah, we've started this show with a religious direction. But this is
Oh,
not
whoops.
Theology Thursday.
Shoot, I got the wrong
This is
show.
Don't
Hold
Worry
on.
Wednesday. Oh
This
my
is
gosh.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Grandpa is 93. Wow.
Dang.
That's a lot of years.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Jeez. Man.
Awesome.
I don't know if I'll make it that far.
I'm never making it past 29.
I know you. I
I
know you're gonna die at 29,
I'm gonna
but
die
that's
at
fine.
29. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be 29 for the rest of my life. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about this. I was watching a show where they were in court, and they were,
Mhm.
there's this there guy on the stand, and I'm like, I wonder if I'm ever called to the stand in a courtroom or whatever, and they ask me how old I am.
You'll forget and say 29.
I'll say
You'll be like, I don't
29.
actually remember. I've just been 29 for a really long time.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so this is Don't Worry Wednesday. This is a show we do on Wednesday. It's a show about you guys and whatever you might be going through in your lives. You can feel free to post them in the chat. Feel free to send us an email, dww@bss.studio. You can put it on our website at bss.studio. Or you can send us a message on Discord. Most of you here know who we are on Discord. You can feel free to direct message us. Feel free to direct message us anytime about anything, really. Um,
Hmm.
DMs are open, and I know that both Ryan and I are usually on there at least for a little bit every day, so you ought to get a decently timely response. But yeah, and I know you notice when Princess isn't here because we don't have the little blurbs of the stuff in the chat with the links to click
No,
on and everything.
I'll try to
So
supply those like you
yeah,
do yours.
hey, there you go. Good. Um, yes. So we are not professional therapists, counselors, or anything of that sort. And we're not a substitute for any type of professional counseling at all. And a matter of fact, a lot of times when people are going through any type of struggle, I would recommend therapy in a lot of cases. In most cases, even if you don't have a whole lot going on, it might be good. um, Yeah, it can be really really helpful to talk to a professional. And professionals, we are not. We just want to be your friend. We want to help in any way we possibly can, but mostly just offer some love and support and encouragement for you along the journey. Because a lot of times, even if you're in therapy, even if you're getting things figured out in that direction, um, it can be really really helpful to you know be able to talk to a friend, to have a friend with you that will love you no matter what. And that's what we try to do here. We just want to love you, encourage you, support you, and maybe offer some perspective because, you know, we're not all that highly qualified. The only thing that qualifies us is we've been through a lot of stuff. And, we continue to live lives, and life always tends to bring stuff to deal with. And so it helps to just sometimes have some perspective, an outside perspective, when you're in the middle of something. You're in the middle of a battle, and bullets are flying all around you, and you're in the middle of the trees, right? And you just don't know what to do. And then somebody who's outside the situation in a helicopter, can shine some light down on the situation and tell you where to go and tell you where not to go.
Tell
It
you how
can
to
be
kill
really
your
helpful.
enemies.
Yes.
Wait,
Kill the enemy. The enemy is stress.
the enemy is stress and worry.
I declare war on stress.
Oh, that's right. That's from what movie is that from?
It's not a movie.
It's not a movie?
Nope.
Oh, it's a IT crowd.
It is. You
It's
got
the
it.
IT crowd, and it's the owner of the company.
Yep.
Yes, yes. What's his name?
That's the
Miss
one.
Dunn
Denim
Dunn
Renum.
Denham Reynolds. Yeah, love that. Run them in his trees. Yeah. Hmm.
Renum Industries. Yep. That's great. So anyway, welcome everybody. And yes, so if you have a topic for us to talk about, we'd be happy to talk about it. And feel free to post it in the chat. Right now, that's about the best place for us to see it immediately, because we're here.
Saleh wants some help getting some 2% milk.
Oh
He's in the
man,
battle of us with some Oreos. Could really use some milk spotlight.
yeah, I get you. Milk is good with Oreos.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Have you any of you tried oat milk yet?
oat milk.
Oat milk.
Nope.
It's really good. I recommend it. Oat milk is I get extra creamy oat milk. The other oat milk's just kind of like oat milk, but the extra creamy is really good.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Zero lactate.
Oh, nice.
So if you've got that problem, but it tastes really good. Way, 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 way better than any other kind of weird milk out there, like almond milk
Mm,
or giraffe milk or whatever.
yeah.
Giraffe milk.
I've never
Could
had
you imagine
giraffe milk.
someone milking a giraffe? They get a ladder. Laying it up against the giraffe. Now don't move.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, Kendra, you do have a topic from November 17th. I'm going to go through the list real quick. If you hear your name, let us know you're here. Kendra, we know you're here. And so if nobody else is here that comes before you, I guess, we'll do your topic first. So, anyway, Ezekiel Games, Dracon, LG, Toast, Immature Success, Amira, Kendra, Garrow, and Sparrow. And yeah, if any of you heard your name, let us know you're here. We'd be happy to do your topic. And yeah,
I'm gonna guess we're gonna do Kendra's.
I'm thinking that's probably true. That's a true statement right there.
Yeah.
The
I'll try to
truest
be.
of statements.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. And Kendra's topic is called My Cousin. And let's see. Are you gonna
Here's
get
the
the
link.
link? Oh, you're
Yep.
gonna get the link, man. Oh, you're so amazing. So like, yes, skim milk is basically flavored water. Skim milk has slightly
I
blue
agree.
meniscus. It's interesting. It tastes like it's kind of like dishwater.
Oh. Yeah. No, it's terrible. I don't care for it.
I don't like skim milk very well. I prefer whole milk actually,
Yeah, I always
um,
drink whole if I'm gonna drink.
mhm. Or half and half.
Although right now I prefer oat milk. It's actually even better.
Oh,
It's like that good.
yeah,
It's
it's
like it's better
that
than
good,
regular
huh?
milk. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oat milk,
Oat milk.
not
Extra
goat,
creamy.
not goat milk.
Not goat milk. Nope. That's different.
Oat milk.
Goat cheese is great though. I love goat cheese.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. All right, well, let's
Cool.
do Kendra's topic. This is called My Cousin. You can click the link right there. And yeah, I'm going to click it and make sure it's legit. And it is. It's right
Awesome.
there. Sweet. So feel free to click the link and read along. I will read the topic out loud. And then I'll give it to Ryan, and he's going to talk about it, which is going to be really fun.
Good luck.
Yeah. Good luck. All right. This is from Kendra. It is called My Cousin. And it goes like this. I am getting frustrated with my cousin. A few months back, she finally left this guy who was in no way good for her. And now he is back in her life. He made her leave her 3 kids behind because of him. There is so much that my cousin has done, and I have tried talking to her and my aunt. Her mom has tried to get her to do what is right. At one point, she was on the right track and had gotten a good job and was doing well, and then she invited people back into her life that was not good. They robbed her, and she has blamed God for everything in her life and hasn't gone back to church. I pray for her and her family for her to get I pray for her and her family for her to get her life back on track so she can be with her kids. Anyway, back to the guy my cousin is with. I met him, and he has given me a really, really bad feeling from him. He also has a son, my cousin's daughter. Call her Cookie. She felt uncomfortable around him. They would smoke in the bathroom at the house and do other not so good stuff when he isn't supposed to. Cookie's mom has visitation rights but does not have custody. At this point, I want to yell at her and shake her to wake her up, to realize a guy isn't going to solve her problems, especially if she wants her kids back. I have had to leave the room to calm myself and keep myself from yelling at her and to make her listen, because I know that isn't going to solve anything. She's in her 30s. My aunt has finally come to the conclusion that she has done all she can for her, and now it is time to stop bending over backwards for her kid. From Kendra. And we have an addition to the topic to add on to that topic. We sold my cousin my old car, and my dad and I were really hesitant to sell it, but my aunt begged my dad. So we did, but gave her rules because she was doing payments. So well, that's very nice of you to help out and to provide a car. Oh, she broke those rules. She was not to allow anyone to drive it but herself, not allowed to smoke in it, and no way allow her boyfriend to drive it. Wow, and she broke those rules. Well, that's a tough situation. I mean, dealing with a family member who's got some stuff off track, yeah, that can be a tough time. And sometimes we watch people around us self-destruct, make decisions, and you don't necessarily know why people make these decisions. We're compelled to by addictions maybe, or by, different traumas we've experienced in the past. Oh, you saw her boyfriend driving it while smoking.
Yeah, it's like a double rule breaker
Oh
right
my
there.
gosh. Wow. Um so my aunt has now gone ahead and just bought it for my cousin because my cousin was also late on her payments. Well, it's really nice of your aunt. In some ways, that might be considered a bit of enabling behavior, um, but sometimes it's like, hey, what do? You want to help people out. You want to give them, the benefit of the doubt to try and get better. Um, and it can be hard to decide, especially when you love someone and you care about them. You know, you don't want to just leave them flat, but they also need to learn, and it can be tough. It can be tough to decide these things. But Kendra, I'm really sorry that this is going on around you. It can be really, really difficult. But I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. I know he's seen experiences like this in the past, and maybe not this exact same type of thing, but I know he's watched people self-destruct, and you know, been through some stuff that can relate. So, Ryan, take it away.
All right, I'll do my best.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of interesting because we've talked about this before, but most people in this world do everything they do because they think it's going to make them happy,
Mm-hmm.
including breaking the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they think whether they believe they can get away with it or not, the consequences aren't really a matter of happiness always. You can give someone a set of consequences like if you don't do this, we're taking your car away, blah blah blah. But they are more worried about their sake of pleasure and
Mm-hmm.
happiness in the moment than they are about consequences.
Yes.
And there are a lot of people like that in this world. You know, it's it's hard to do things um, that are for the future when you're not someone who's been taught to do that. If you have a mindset that's all about what's going on right now, the pleasures in front of you, and taking advantage of those, seizing those moments, you've got that kind of mind, that kind of personality, looking out and looking out to the future and saying, hey, what is this going to lead to? What is this relationship that I have? Is it good or bad? All of that is almost impossible to think about because it's not something that enters your mind. So people like this are a handful. They're very hard to deal with. And a lot of times, all of the consequences um, get shoved onto somebody else
Mm-hmm.
because they can't handle them. Whether it be someone who is in a depressive state, and so someone else has to take care of them, or a financial burden, or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's up to usually family to help that person get taken care of. But the problem is, like you clearly see, once you do that, you enable them, right? If you And I would recommend this for any relationship. If you're helping someone, if you're taking care of somebody, right? And it gets to a point where you start to realize me helping them, me taking care of them, me fronting the bill, or me helping them, cope. If they keep on coming to me for everything all the time, I have accidentally led them into a hole
Mm-hmm.
because now they're dependent upon me. And the truth is, I cannot make them happy. I cannot make them the best version of themselves, right? That's just the truth, right? We can do our best to help them, but there's a difference between helping someone and basically how do you say making them dependent upon you, I guess. Sure, we're going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
There's another word for it, but I can't think of it right now.
Enabling.
Enabling, yeah, there you go. There's a difference between helping and enabling.
Mm-hmm.
Helping someone keeps in mind their future and doesn't worry about the present problems, because the present problems are there for the future, right? And if you solve them for them, what good is it
Mm-hmm.
to them, right? You solve a problem for someone else, what good is that problem to them? Rarely, rarely have I ever seen solving someone else's problem help that person. The only time it ever helps that person is when you solve that problem and they just feel immediate shame.
Mm-hmm.
And that shame leads them to start acting and shaping up, right? But if you help solve someone's problem and they don't feel that shame, they feel like, whew, okay, done, cleared that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're thankful, maybe they're not, but if they don't have shame that you solved it for them. Now, there's a difference between real quick. I'm not saying don't let people help you, right? We all require help.
Mm-hmm.
We do nothing without help from others,
Mm-hmm.
right? We help each other and we get help every day. We should, right? Those are good things. But in a scenario like this, right, where you've been helping the person out for a while and they're just not, it's not working, right? Then you start to realize, okay, they're being enabled, right? So I would recommend that your aunt stick to her words. I would have a talk with your aunt and say, look, remember when you said this, that you said you were done helping her? Because she needs to grow. And she's not going to be able to grow if she doesn't solve her own problems. You know, that's just the way it is. You know, you can get some Legos and take them from some kid and build a house with them and give it back to him. Kid doesn't learn how to use the Legos to build. You know, I'm talking about like a toddler, whatever, a baby,
Yeah.
right? You know, if you're trying to teach your kid how to manipulate things to start building with Legos and stuff, you don't just take it from them, solve the problem, build the castle, and give it back to them. You know, you allow the kid to experience frustration. You allow the kid to experience not doing it right till they do it right. And you allow the kid to experience doing things right. Because there's a sense of proudness that comes from that. And that proudness is attractive. Not just attractive to other people, because it is, but being proud of yourself is attractive to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you want to do more things that you can be proud of when you start doing things that you can be proud of, right? It's a cycle. Just like cycle of destruction, there's a cycle of being uplifted and making sure that you're doing the things that you need to do is one of those cycles that uplifts you. So here's the thing. You want to help your cousin. One thing you have to keep in mind is that you're family. Family, to most people, are not people to be respected. They are people to fall back on. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that's true even in Jesus' day, right? No one listened to Jesus when he preached in his own town. They all said, oh, don't we know this kid?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to listen to him. He went outside of his town, suddenly people listened to him. What is up with that? That's family. People don't respect each other in the family unit. They're not going to listen to you. If you have something to say to this cousin, it's going to be hard to gain respect for her to listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to not be a cousin. Basically, you have to be a friend. And that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always, depending on how close your family is, there's always going to be that dissonance of like, yeah, they're my friend, but they're also my family. you know? And that's kind of weird, right? We shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't be like that, but we are.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of part of human nature to be like that. And you have to fight against it so that you can respect your family and listen to the things they have to say and value the things they have to say and say, you know what, that's a good message you just gave me. I'm going to try that, right? That takes you eliminating your pride, right? And that's not something that she's aware of, your cousin, right? That's not something that she's going to be thinking about, trying to process, trying to get better at. So the only way you're going to ever have a chance, any chance of having any influence with her, is to be your friend. And any way for your aunt to have any influence with this person is even harder
Mm-hmm.
because they're the fallback. They're not the they're not there. Yeah, they're not the person pushing them forward. There's just the last stage of being of rock bottom,
Mm-hmm.
essentially, right? So they have to be their friend, and it's hard for mom and daughter to be friend.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of people, it's not hard. It's not supposed to be hard. It really isn't hard, but in our society, it tends to be hard because people aren't thinking about these things, right? Um, so if you want to make a difference in her life, you can do one of two things. One is called tough love. And tough love is where you just, even violently, if you have to, try to help them in a tough way. Tough love is tough for both parties. Keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Tough love is tough for both parties. If it's not tough for you, it's probably just anger, and there's a difference. And you can be
Mm.
angry and show tough love at the same time, but there's a selfish anger and there's a loving anger, right? And so
Right.
you want to have a loving anger, right? Loving anger is to want the best for the person. And sometimes we all do that. We get to a point where we just shatter, we break in front of someone, but we love them, and we just you know, yell their heads off, right? um, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? In fact, the golden rule in the world is treat others how you want to be treated, right? The hidden golden rule of that is don't hurt other people. But I want to tell you that neither of those things are sins. It's okay to hurt other people. There's a difference between hurting people out of selfishness, though, and there's a very big difference when you're hurting someone because you love them, when you're allowing them to be hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Because in truth, you're not really hurting them. They've already hurt themselves. You're ripping the band aid off to say, look, this is a wound.
Mm-hmm.
It's here. Stop hiding it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're in that situation, it's okay to rip the bandage off. You know, Joe tells this great story of if you, I'm just gonna sum it up real quick. If you have like a really deep gash in your leg or something, right, and you wrap it up in bandages, right, and you never change the bandages, that wound's gonna get infected.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna get worse and worse and worse. You need to take the bandages off if you want to heal something appropriately, correctly. You have to open yourself up to the wound. You have to open up yourself to the problems in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes another person, and sometimes it takes a family member, the person you're trying to fall back on, who's not letting you fall back on them. You try to fall back on them, they say, nope, I'm out. And they just fall on the ground, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to open those wounds, and they're going to be mad at you.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be mad at you. They might just say, you know what? I'm not a part of this family anymore and leave forever. But at least there's a chance if they do that, that they're going to grow and get better.
Mm-hmm.
But the chance of them getting better in the current environment they're in, it's not very high. Neither of them are high. You you can only try, right? You only do the best to be your best to help them become their best, right? And so you look at the options in front of you, you weigh them, and you say, okay, first of all, understand that it's not about showing anger or anything like that. Really, it's all about what can I do for them to make the best for them, right? That's the
Mm-hmm.
bottom line. And it's okay to give them tough love. It's also okay to let them fall back on you. I mean, it's technically okay for your aunt to do what she's doing, right? However, if you guys have threats, like a threat as in like do this or the consequence is this, and she does it and she doesn't get any consequence from it, then the family has failed. Because then there's no chance for recovering that respect lost right there. Right? She knows she can get away with stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean that's the you just let the bottom line fall out. Like it's gone. You want respect from somebody, you have to be honest to a fault almost. you know? So what I would say is you have two options. One, try to be her friend. What happens in friendship is this: you take her down a journey of your own self growth. And when she sees you and your growing and respects it, her desire to do the same for herself will increase,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's route number one. Route number two, try to get your whole family to show her tough love. In a way, it's going to feel like she's being abandoned. But that abandonment is so that she can learn to be on her own and grow and be strong, right? Both of them are hard. Both of them are unfortunately not even foolproof because in the end, it's up to her. It's up to her entirely. One last thing I will say before giving it over to Joe is this: because it's up to her, no one in the family at all should feel any sort of responsibility. There is responsibility in the family unit, right? Just because you're family, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities there. It's responsible to take care of your kids and things like that. Yeah. But you can't be held responsible for her in her way she acts, her actions, right? If she doesn't like you, her feelings are not your responsibility. So her feelings and her actions are not your responsibility, right? And her failing is not your responsibility either. In fact, nothing that she does or nothing she fails at or succeeds at is a part of your responsibility. As a family, the only responsibility you have is to act as a family. That is to love. But love isn't always being that person that's there for them. Sometimes it's choosing not to be there for them so that they can learn to grow.
Mm.
And that's rough. But it's important that you and your family know that you can't be held accountable for this individual and how they have grown up and become who they've become, right? And I say that ultimately for this reason: don't let her affect you emotionally. Obviously, it's harder said than done,
Mm-hmm.
or easier said than done. It's harder
Easier
to
said than done.
actually
Yes.
do that. Yeah,
Yes.
easier said than done. Yeah. But it's important to know, like, okay, that's how she's acting. All right, that's just how she's acting. Yeah, she's being a menace right now. She's being violent. She's being ridiculous. Let's just be cool headed. That's who she is right now. But she can grow. There's no reason to get emotionally caught up into it all. But if you do, it's okay. It's okay. But when we are emotional, we tend to be less judge. Our judgment seems to fall off
Mm-hmm.
over what's the right action, what's the wrong action.
Yes.
So that's why we tend not to fight when we're angry, because if we're angry, we can be selfish. We can be lose judgment of of what's right and wrong. So instead, if you are angry, it's better to cool down and then come back to it
Mm-hmm.
in the conversation and say, hey, look, I mean, it made me angry, but I'm not angry anymore. Yeah. And then blah, blah, blah. Right. it's okay to be angry. It's okay that anger leads you to action. But if you don't lose your judgment in anger, then you're fine. But most people do, and that includes myself. So that's why I tend to not act when I'm angry. Um, that's that. But anyways, yeah, just keep in mind, she's not your responsibility. Don't let her beat you up. Okay? She's going to act how she acts. Don't let that beat you up. Don't let that make your day worse. Don't let that make you into a worse person. And it's going to be hard. But I gave you my two best long-term options. One of them is ditcher, kind of tough love, and the other one is try to become her friend. But that's a long road. Both of them are. But anyways, Joe, what do you got? I mean, I give my best. It's hard.
Yeah, it is a tough situation. Kendra has a few updates in here. The car was in 1999 Pontiac Bonneville. So seeing how the car is being treated after being taken care of for so long, it hurts. When I found out she had broken the rules, I found out the same day she was going to come over to sign some paperwork. I had to go to my room so not to blow up at her. My dad said after my aunt paid for the car that she said she was done. My aunt is planning on moving. Ever since my uncle died, she has had it rough. I know my uncle would not have allowed my cousin to do what she has done. He would have made her keep her side of the deal. My aunt has said, I can't do this anymore. I've given them everything, and now I need to let them fend for themselves. I gave them advice and all they need. No more. Paraphrased. My cousin is older than me. She's in her 30s, getting close to 40. I'm only 25. Giving her tough love just seems like I'm being childish to her, it seems. And that could be, that's one thing. Those are some things to think about. When we're going to speak truth into somebody's life, we need to be very careful when we do that. We need to be careful of a couple things. You need to think, okay, am I the right person to give this truth to somebody? Do I have the right relationship with them? You got to think, like Ryan was talking about, Jesus himself had no honor in his own town. People didn't listen to him in his own town. Right? And I mean, it was Jesus of all people. But to them, he was just a regular guy, right? And so they didn't have the respect for him. So, him telling them how to live their lives and, the sermons that he taught and all that stuff, like, they would not have accepted those. And so you got to ask yourself, all right, am I the right person to give this person this advice? Do I have the right relationship with them? That's one thing. Another thing is you got to think, okay, how likely is it that when I tell them this, it's going to affect them in a positive way? These are things to ask yourself. And that also ties in with the relationship one. Do you have the right relationship with this person to do this? And a lot of times we don't. A lot of times when I ask myself these questions, am I the right person to give this person advice? Probably not. And so it's like on Don't Worry Wednesday here, we're giving advice in some cases, we're trying to help, we're trying to give some perspective. And obviously, like we say at the beginning, we're not professionals. So, you have to take what we say with a grain of salt and, hey, we might be right, we might be wrong. These are just some things to think about. This show's for entertainment purposes only.
Don't add perspective into your life.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so ask yourself, and it sounds to me like you personally may not be the person that can influence her in any direction. Maybe you are, maybe in the right moment, but I think your cousin, in order for that to be the right moment, in order for you to be that right person, your cousin probably is going to have to get knocked down a bit and probably have to have some of the pride stripped off and some of the idols taken away, because really that's what it comes down to. I've
Yeah.
learned this about myself so clearly in the recent past, very recent past, that I am good at creating idols. I think we
I
all
think we
are.
all are. We'll set it to that. I think we all are.
We can create an idol out of anything: money, our goals, our hopes and dreams, our family members, our friends, the relationships we have with those people. All these things can be idols. And what I mean is, what they do is they take our attention, so we don't have our attention on God. you know and I know this isn't a theology talk, but it's true that we can really get our perspective messed up when we have something we desire in front of us, or something that we've gotten used to having in front of us, or something that we're addicted to in front of us, or any type of thing like that. It can become our focal point, and then our life kind of morphs around it and mutates and becomes this weird looking thing with this, object at the focal point that shouldn't be there. And in this case, I mean, obviously, any kind of addiction, you said your cousin smokes, that's an addiction. Smoking cigarettes is an addiction.
Mhm.
And, that can cause people to do things they wouldn't normally do, like put something in their mouth and light it on fire and suck on it. Which, who thought
When
of
you
that?
say it that way, that just makes it sound so dumb.
Kind of is.
I
I mean, hey.
love that. I love that. Yeah, that's so great.
Why not? Hey, I'll just put this thing in my mouth, light it on fire, and suck on it. It'll be
Uh-huh.
good. It's Yeah. But hey, you know what? It's an addiction. I've been addicted to nicotine. I've been addicted to caffeine. I've been addicted to all kinds of stuff, right? In my life. And addictions are hard. Addictions, they can, they twist us up and make us focus on something that isn't really real. It's not the best thing for us, right? And sometimes, like Ryan was talking about, through tough love or through being allowed to fall, we need to have those idols taken away, or those addictions taken away, or we need to have things that are dear to us taken away, so we can really learn to rely on what's important, which is God, in my opinion. If you're not a godly person, I'm sure you can still agree with the fact that people get they get their priorities all messed up. You know, even if you don't believe that God is who we're supposed to be focusing on, you can still see people all around you, making really, really, really important parts of their life less important for the sake of something stupid. You know, we see that all the time. I've done it. I've seen other people do it. But then, how do we get past that? Well, unfortunately, the pathway through any compulsion, through any compulsory behavior or an addiction or anything like that, it's painful. It's not
Hmm.
easy to break free. It's not. And a lot of times it takes restructuring our lives in other areas. I know, for one, for battling any kind of an addiction, if it's a physical addiction, where, like, if it's an addiction to some kind of a substance that we've ingested. And then what happens with addiction, with physical addiction like that, is we ingest something, whether through inhaling it or eating it or drinking it or whatever. We ingest it, and it creates a chemical imbalance in our body. So our body wants homeostasis, it wants to be balanced. And so it produces chemicals to counteract the imbalance that we've artificially created through ingesting this chemical. So then our body is trying to sort that out. And then the chemical that we've ingested passes through our system faster than the ones our body produced to combat it. So now we have a chemical imbalance again. And now the only way we can satisfy that imbalance is to ingest the chemical again. You know, and that's how physical addiction works, right? It's basically a teeter-totter of chemical imbalance. The way through that is painful. But there are some things that you can do to make it easier, and that is sleep, lots of water, and move your body, exercise. Get yourself breathing more, get more blood pumping through your system, because basically what you're trying to do is circulate all your chemicals and get, move through that process faster, as fast as you can. And then sleep through the painful parts. Right? As much as you can. That's how I've conquered a lot of addictions that were chemical, and that is by lots of water, lots of sleep, and physical exercise. Because it just makes things circulate through your body faster. It gets you through the physical withdrawal symptoms faster. And when you sleep a lot, you sleep through a lot of those withdrawal symptoms. Now, some things, that's even harder. I have had friends who were addicted to cocaine, for instance. And that's a tough one, man. To detox from that.
It's life-threatening.
Can be. Alcohol is about the worst.
Can be. Okay.
As far as life-threatening. People with severe alcoholism, that's the one that the withdrawal symptoms will kill you. So they
my uncle has that.
Yeah.
He's been in the hospital like hundreds of times now.
Yeah.
Hasn't died yet. Just got fight.
That can be tough. That can totally be tough. But yeah, I remember my buddy who, when he detoxed from cocaine addiction, he was like, yeah, man, I could not sleep. I tried to sleep, and my skin was just crawling and all, like all this craziness. And, it's just nuts. Caffeine addiction is just massive splitting headaches, right? To detox from that. And but generally it takes a few days to get past that chemical part, and then the rest of it's psychological. So then you have to build yourself mentally to get past this. Now, why am I talking all this addiction stuff? Because it sounds to me like that's the real struggle your cousin is dealing with. From what you've explained to me, there are multiple addictions, and most of them are psychological. There are dependencies on your aunt and on the help that you guys have all provided. There might be a sense of entitlement that's come in as a result through the constant, giving in to helping. And we help people with the best of intentions. We do. It's not like we want them to hurt. And so that's why we want to help them. And it can be really, really hard. It can be really hard to let go of that. And to then watch them go through, the pain of dealing with those addictions. But sometimes we gotta have those things removed from our lives in order to move forward. Sometimes they just hold us back. And here's the other thing. I know for me, sometimes I'm not strong enough to do this on my own. So I need somebody to take it away from me. Right? Because sometimes I'm too far into the compulsive behavior that I need some assistance to get out because I'm not strong enough to do it on my own. And I've never been to rehab, but I have had people, remove idols from me, I guess I should just say. So then I would have the chance to grow, which was good. It was painful at the time. It really stunk. and it took some time to get through. But on the other side is a more stable existence, a more solid persona that you can have. And Kendra, I'm sorry, this is not going to be easy to go through. But from your perspective, if I was to offer you, hey, sounds like we got a guest. Welcome, guest.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Do I sound okay?
It's Princess. You sound beautiful.
Awesome. Sorry I'm late.
Oh, you're
Okay.
fine. You're fine.
Good.
Yep. Kendra says, I feel like part of the problem is also from the fact of who her birth father was, not my uncle who passed. He basically chose his motorcycles over his children. That could be. I mean, a lot of times there's a father wound that we end up nursing for a long time, and it leaves an emptiness in us that we, are trying to fill through many, many different means. And yes, you're right. This isn't Theology Thursday. This isn't a theology talk. But I will say this. For all of us, we all have a God-shaped hole in our lives. We're all seeking some kind of satisfaction that only can be provided by satisfaction itself, which is God. Love itself, which is God. God is these things. And a lot of times we're seeking that, and we think we're going to find it in some kind of a drug or some kind of a behavior or money or a car or whatever it is, or some kind of a comfort or relationship. Exactly. It can be anything. We think we're going to find that satisfaction in that, and we're just simply not. We might get pleasure, like Ryan was talking about earlier. We might get a bit of pleasure from the event, but pleasure is another addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, we're addicted to the pleasure. And so we have to be really careful. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't go around doing things that are pleasing to you or things that are pleasurable. It's totally fine, right? But it's when we go too far into where we're drawn to that, and it's like, oh my gosh, I need that in order to be happy. What's happening is you're not really happy. You're just seeking pleasure. But anyway, I've gone all over the place with this topic. I apologize, but hopefully some of this makes sense, and hopefully it can kind of give you a little bit of a dimension of what your cousin might be going through. And she needs healing. She needs your prayer. And that's the best thing you can do, because really, it sounds to me like you're not really going to be in a position of influence with your cousin. So there might not be a lot you can do or say that's going to help the situation. But you can pray for her. You can pray for her healing. You can pray for her, for God to guide her, for angels to watch over her. You can pray for her, and no prayer is ever wasted. I know you know that, Kendra. So anyway, I'm going to turn it back over to Ryan and see if he's got anything else. Ryan?
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot. I just wanted to say, I know this is Don't Worry Wednesday, and it's probably cliche for me to say this, but don't worry about her too much.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have any control over what she does. And just as Joe was saying, you're probably not the person that's going to be the one to change her. You might be. But if that opportunity presents itself, you'll know when that is. If she comes to you, if you find yourself in a room with her alone and topics sway that way, then you know that perhaps you're the one that maybe help.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times in life, we can't solve everybody's problems.
Mm-hmm.
People have to solve their own problems. And so at the end of the day, you have to respect them to solve their own problems. Don't try to get involved all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Even though your desire is super holy and helpful and nice, it's a good thing to want to help people. It's also important to respect other people so that they can grow. Respect that God made them in such a way that they're capable of solving this problem. They might need a little help, might need a little direction, but if you've already tried to give it and they're not taking it, then it's up to them.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately. Princess wanted to say some stuff, so I'm going to go over to her. I don't know what she's got in store for us, but go for it, Princess.
Well, I'm sure Ryan probably covered it and I just missed it, but definitely you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Right.
Very true.
So, you know, I can relate to this in a different situation with my sister, my sophomore year of high school, where it was almost the peak of her having her own troubles, where she just didn't have herself together, couldn't get herself together. She managed to end up having to be without either house because she got kicked out of both of them from her actions. And it comes...
That means both her mom and her dad's house.
Yes.
Just to clarify.
For those who would, yeah. Thank you. But, you know, and then it was like, well, they had to find her a place to live and she had to figure out on her own how she was going to get herself together. And it was incredibly hard because we all wanted the best for her. We wanted her to be better. We wanted for her to be on top of things. We wanted to, you know, love her and support her, but all of the love and support that we tried to do, she wasn't open to, no matter how nice or sweet it was. And at some point, you know, it became very apparent that that wasn't what she needed. She needed to figure it out on her own without having that no, all of our words wouldn't help her. They would actually make it harder for her. And that was very tough. And I don't know if this was recommended, but in some ways, and again, it's not your place to be the caretaker of your cousin or your mom or your aunt or any of that. But they also will probably need support during this time. So I would pray for your family too. And they might need to let off steam about her or the situations too. And just, you know, because it's going to be a lot to handle. It's a lot. It's a whole bunch of stuff that you have nothing you can do about it. And that's hard. You know, it's easy to say the words, let it go, or, you know, don't worry about it. But it's much harder to actually do that. It's the right thing to do, I suppose. But like, I know from my own experiences that it's hard to actually do that because it's on your mind, or you know it, or you see it, or you hear it, or you assume it. You just know that it's lingering there. So one of the biggest things that I recommend is even more focusing on your own life, what you're doing and how you're moving forward. Because she might not move forward for a while. She might have to stay there. She might have to walk around in circles, figure eights, go one step forward and 2 steps back, and slowly but surely eventually take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But that's her battle to fight with. And as much as you want to help, it's her dance to tango. Can't do anything about it. But
2 slides this time.
You know, what you can do is you can love her. You can love family. You can try and bring fun things to your family too, to bring upliftingness, to help lift people up. It won't be her because she has to deal with her own stuff, but it's going to inevitably try and bleed into other people's lives. So at least something that I think is helpful in some scenarios and some situations, take it with a grain of best judgment of your own, is try and make fun family things that are centered on each other and not situations that are bad at hand. Because sometimes what you need is to not focus on that because it's not going to do you any good. And that's all. That was all I had to say.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know what? I've found some great moments of reflection just standing outside watching it snow, watching birds fly overhead, enjoying the creation that's all around me. As Princess has talked about on this show, and she helped me through some anxious moments myself at times. And it's, to practice mindfulness in a way and really be present with what's going on around you. Those things can help because, you're going to be tempted. You care about your cousin. It's obvious to me, Kendra. You care about your cousin. You want what's best for her. You see her going down this path, and it's frustrating. And it's upsetting because it's like, oh my gosh, it's upsetting because she's breaking the rules that you guys set out. So it's kind of like she's thumbing her nose at you guys, and like you're trying to help and she's just like taking it whatever and like doing whatever she wants anyway. But I can tell you love your cousin and you'd like to see her get her life put back together, right? But sometimes we can get our brain so focused on that. And I would encourage you, even that can become an idol for you if you're not careful. Your focusing on it can become a habit and a compelling behavior and something you just do without even thinking about it. It can become something that you just have an inordinate focus on. And so sometimes it helps to just go away, go take a walk. I took a lot of walks through parks, and just enjoyed the trees, the birds, the snow's fallen sometimes. There's beauty all around us, and we can be mindful of that beauty. And what that can do is it can break the mind habit of us, thinking of this thing over and over and over and ruminating on it, because all that's going to do is damage you in the long run for you to continually think about it. So I would definitely take some time to even in the midst of the frustration and the anger and, it's just a tough situation. But to take a step out and just enjoy the creation that's around you. It can really help. So anyway, I don't know. Ryan, did you have anything more?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Okay. Kendra says, I feel a little bit calmer now after this. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. We appreciate you, Kendra, and appreciate you
Kendra.
sharing this topic. Oh my gosh. This is a tough moment to go through.
Mm-hmm. But
really,
it's something
really
that
tough.
everyone, I think, can relate to at some point with someone in their family, usually, or their lives in general.
And it's hard to watch somebody self-destruct in front of you.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch it. It's hard to self-destruct.
Especially when it's a loved one. That it's hard to see someone that you know and you care about so deeply just implode, explode, volcano.
Yeah. You bet. And you know that it's not it. They brought it on themselves through different choices that they've made over the years. All these different choices kind of stack up, and then all of a sudden, boom! It's like there's a proverb at some point. Well, maybe it's not a proverb. A guy asked another guy, "So how'd you go broke?" He's like, "Well, it was really slow, and then all at once."
Yeah, that's how it goes. It's really slow, and then all at once.
Yep. Because a lot of times we make little choices, and those lead to certain behavior patterns. And those little choices that we make end up compounding with other choices we make and turn into a life that we may or may not be happy with, may or may not be good for us and the people around us. So, yeah, I love what Ryan and Princess both said, that yes, Kendra, you live your life the best way you know how. You make those right choices. Be an example if you can. And then when it comes time, you can be a rock. You can be rock solid for your cousin. And you'll know not to help out in ways that are going to enable addictions and enable bad behavior, but in ways, that can actually be productive and help her to grow. And but you only know that because you've grown by making good choices and pursuing virtue. So I'm proud of you, Kendra. I can tell you love your cousin, and I know it's heartbreaking to watch somebody go through this. And I really, really appreciate you sharing because, yeah, this is a big deal. Especially now, we're going to be hanging out with family members a lot now. It's the holidays. You know, we'll probably get to see those family members that we love really in a special way.
So you should tell them when you give them a hug when you meet them in the holiday. I really love you in such a special way.
Such a special way. I want to hug you with my fist.
Yeah.
In the face. Sorry. No, that's bad. Don't say that. We have a topic from the chat from Nihilus. I haven't seen any of the other folks come in from our queue. What I can do, Kendra, thank you so much for the topic. You're amazing, and it's always great to see you here. All right, I'm going to go through the list real quick. Ezekiel Games, Drakon, LG, Toast, Immature Success, Amira, Garrow, and Sparrow. And if any of you guys heard your name, let us know you're here, and we'd be happy to do your topic. Nihilus has one in the chat that we can read and just do right now. Probably. Right,
Let's do
Princess?
Yes.
You think so?
In a moment.
Yeah.
Can you get the link for that?
Yes, I was just trying to title it.
I'm just kidding. I was just kidding because I was asking you to link the chat in the chat. I'm gonna make sure you guys can navigate to Nihilus's post here.
Here, I can help you guys navigate to it. Click that link, and you'll be brought to the stream where you can look in the chat, and you'll find it.
Hey,
mine is
perfect.
Yeah, that's my link for it. I think that actually brings up just the chat. Let's see what happens when I click that.
Does it?
I don't know. Someone will also have to click that.
I clicked it. Nope, it brings up the show.
Okay, well, cool. There you go. So
wait, now it wrecked my chat.
That's why I didn't click it.
All right.
Press backspace. Hopefully it'll bring you back.
I got it. No, I figured it out.
Okay, good.
Good.
Okay. Anyways, sorry for the detour. It was meant to be a quick joke. Now it turned into this.
It gave me time to title it, which is still not a great title, but it's dang it. Whatever. Fine.
Hey,
Prince,
Joe, do you have a humidifier?
A humidifier or a dehumidifier?
Oh, either. Do you have a dehumidifier?
Yeah, but it's not plugged in. It's wintertime.
Okay. What is the weird bubbling noise I'm hearing from you?
Oh, you know what that is? Honestly?
Yeah, is it your stomach?
Nope.
Okay. I was like, that'd be really weird. It sounds more like bubbles than it does.
I have drop ceiling and there's a mouse up there.
Whatever.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's tip tapping as it's like
It's like
across the ceiling. I thought it was bubbles, like the sound of like someone blowing bubbles in the bathtub kind of sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
There it goes.
We're gonna have to do something about our mousetrap line that we have. We're gonna have to rebait them or something, make them more attractive.
Put some anime pictures with with some cute girls on them, and then they'll come running.
Yeah. You can hear them running already.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or if they're females, you're gonna have to do anime guys or something.
Yes. Get a cat. Scare the mouse away. You know, that'd be great. But if I get a cat, I'll scare myself away.
And
because I'm allergic to the cat.
Yeah, because you're allergic to the cats, and your your father, isn't he allergic? Is he allergic to cats?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
Maybe. Yeah, but anyway, okay. So Princess has the link there, and this is for Nihilus's topic. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. You can click the link and go to it, and
Garrow also arrived, who has a topic.
yes.
Whoa.
Yep. Garrow, welcome. Hey, would you mind? Hey, we're going to do Nilas's topic, but you have a topic here too. You want to stick around and we'll do your topic right after this? Let us know in the chat. We'd be happy to.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we're ready with Nilas's just about here. So, Princess, whenever you're ready, if you want to read it, you can feel free to do that.
Suppose I should do that before I finish the other thing. That's fine.
That's okay.
So many things to do.
I know, but
This is
you know
why you
what,
prepare
Princess? This
beforehand.
is why you're so amazing.
Gail says, sure.
Perfect.
Sure.
Well, this is job because I didn't have a great title for it from Nihilus.
Okay.
I go to school and I feel like I could be having a part-time job on the side, but the places I wanted to work at and have sent my job applications are not hiring for the time being. My problem is them being unsure if I should wait and hope for one of the places to start hiring, or instead try to get a job at a place I'd like to work at less, but would be able to start earning my own money. At the same time, I also administer 2 clubs on my school, and I'm part of the school student council, making me unsure if I can even find the time at hand.
Mm.
From Nihilus.
Wow, man.
Yeah, wow. Good. That's a great topic. Because I mean, seriously, you know, I think the real question is how urgent is it for you to have money? Probably. You know, I mean, you've got a lot going on in your life. And so that's probably the first question I would ask myself. You know, yes, I think it would be great to have a part-time job on the side while you go to school. I did that, you know. I worked, and eventually my part-time job became a full-time job, and I ended up leaving school to continue on the full-time job. It was interesting, but yeah, sometimes that's the real question, you know. I mean, yes, it's good to have the money, but how badly do you need the money when you got all this other stuff going on, right? That's a question I would ask, and I'm going to start with that question, and then I'm going to turn it over to Ryan because he needs to talk about this. So, and look at him. Look at him. Look at you. You know he's got something to say. That's the I've got something to say face from Ryan. Just
All
so
right,
you know.
let's go.
And there goes the mouse again. Did you hear
Yeah.
it?
All right. Cool. I'm ready. You don't need money, fool. No. Okay. Anyways, so I mean, what Joe started out with is a good question. What do you need money for?
What do you need money for?
What do you need money for?
What do you
Right?
really
Is it
need money
urgent? So money is great. Money is great. Money is important. Blah blah blah. Right? Obviously, we all know this. You know, Nihilus, that money's a tool. It's not something to idolize. You know, it's here's the thing that's interesting. If you just want money so that you can buy things that are fun, there's nothing wrong with that. But it can potentially hurt you. In fact, it sounds wild what I'm going to say, but studies have been done on people who get allowances. Okay. Now, the original idea of an allowance is to help a child learn finances, learn how to save up money and use their money wisely, etc. But what they found also happens is that kids who get allowances end up worse with their finances because they are trained in their mind to buy things when they get money. And those things are meant for fun, right? And so you teach a kid finances like that, it makes their spending habits really bad, right? Money is a useful resource. It can be used for many things, especially good things, right? And especially your own security, right? Owning a house, paying bills, getting a car, all sorts of different stuff, right? Eating food, having hot water or cold water or any water at all. These are good things, right? These are goods. And pleasure is good too, right? Being able to play, having enough money to spend on an activity that's fun for you, fun for others, people that you invite along with you, all good things. But one common financial problem that people have is if they get money and they find themselves having extra money, they spend it because they get that joy out of spending money. Money, it's fun to spend on something. Like there's that, you click buy and you're like, yeah, whoa, I just bought something. Oh, I'm excited for it to come.
Mm-hmm.
And then a day later or less, you're like, maybe I shouldn't have spent that money. And then the product comes into you in the mail and you're like, yes, I got the sweet. And then you're like, a day later, you kind of forget about it, you know? And that's life, right? And you have to kind of realize that and say, okay, this money, I want to do something good with it. Not something that I'm just going to enjoy spending money and then enjoy receiving it and then kind of hate myself. So keep that in mind. That's just an overall life lesson. It's not necessarily pertaining to whether you should get a job or not. It's just an overall life lesson. There's nothing wrong with getting money right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great thing to start saving up your money. It's a great thing to start, even maybe if you're not going to save it up, working hard at something is productive.
Mm-hmm.
When you get a job, what are you doing? You're serving people. One way or another, you're serving people. Whether you're making something in the back room where no one will see it, but then it goes off to someone, whether you're doing plumbing or you're an accountant or anything in life, whether you're answering the phone and saying, oh, let me tell you how to fix that problem on your computer, or whatever it is, you're serving somebody, which is a good thing. And work is hard, right? So it builds character, etc. Now, Nihilus, if you're asking this question, you want to work while you're in school. Obviously, I can see that you are an incredibly hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
That's super awesome. I am
Mm-hmm.
impressed. I'm very impressed. I've only met, when I was working, I met one person who was in high school and working a job at the same time. And the one thing I can say about him is he seemed to have everything in order. His priorities were right. He was just a go-getter, and it was awesome. He was a great kid. In fact, of all the people I had to work with at that job, it was a fast food job. Of all the people I had to work with, the person I thought was the most like respectable person in the entire establishment was this kid. And he was younger than me. Right. So it tells you kind of like what I think about you even asking this question, because I think that's incredibly respectable. I'll leave it up to you to decide whether you can administer 2 clubs, be a part of the student council, go to school, and work a job. Seems like a lot to me. It seems like a load of stress, if there ever was one. But if that's something you want to do, I'm not going to tell you no. So on to what I was going to talk about ultimately. The places that you want to apply to, or the places you applied to, aren't currently hiring. And then you have other jobs that you don't really care to do, but they're open. If I were you, I would send your job applications to the places that are hiring, even if you're not really sure you want to work there. Here's the reason why. You don't know a lot of times unless you try. And even if you get a job working somewhere that you don't like, a lot of times what you find is you make connections and you live out experiences. And you get paid. There is a, what's the word? There's dignity. There's great dignity in working any job, especially if you don't like it. Right? So if you work at a place that you don't care for, it's not like, your ideal job. It's fine. It's not where you're going to be for the rest of your life. But you can work there for a season and find out what it's like. Find out what it's like to work in those places. You learn compassion for people in that industry, right? You learn how that industry is run. It will give you ideas for new jobs later. It will build up your experiences. It will build up your repertoire for your, applications you send out later to people. You know, you say, hey, I worked at this place, did well. Resume. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Resume. It will up your resume. And so I think that it's a great idea to work places that you're not necessarily interested in, as long as your intention isn't to settle there for the rest of your life, right? And I don't think that's your intention. I think if you were saying, you know, I'm going to be there for the rest of my life, blah, 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 that's different. But you're not going to be. You know what I can tell you? A lot of times what happens in life is you don't know where you're going to end up. You just take it, whatever opportunities lie in front of you that you see. And it's amazing how working one job might land you another job that you never thought you would enjoy, you never even heard of. And yet, all of a sudden, because if you knew a person who knew a person, all of a sudden you're in this new position, this new place, this new company, whatever it is, and you're working there and you really like it. That happens. In fact, it happens a lot. Mm-hmm. So gaining these experiences from places that you're not really sure you want to work is still valuable. No matter what, you're going to come out ahead. That's the end, right? Even if you work at a place that you don't care for, I would apply for it, because at the end, you're going to come out ahead. That is, if you think you have the time and brain energy, I'm going to call it, you know, we all have a limited amount of thinking we can do in a day mm-hmm. before we're too drained to do much else. We all have a limited amount of brain energy. Sometimes it's being eaten up entirely by emotion or stress. And then we just can't function anymore. If you have the brain capacity, there we go. If you have the emotional capacity and the brain capacity and the physical capacity, if you have all of those to work another job on top of the other things, if you believe that's true, then go for it. And if you start working there and you find, okay, I was wrong, I don't have the capacity for this, well, then you know your limit, and it's okay to drop out of your workplace. There's nothing. I mean, it might be a little bit like, oh man, I feel embarrassed, but whatever. You just go to your boss and say, hey, look, I got ahead of myself. I thought I could do this job, but I can't. So, and they're gonna be like, no, you're doing great. And you're like, it's not that. I just have too much going on in life. Mm-hmm. You know, they'll understand. If you just tell them, hey, I have too much going on in life, people say, okay, that makes sense. And then they might, if you were a good worker there, they might even say, all right, you know, if you ever find things slowing down, call me back. I'll hire you again. You know, and being good at your workplace is a whole nother talk. But yeah, that's what I got to start with. I'm going to give it over to Joe, see what he's got to say.
Yeah, I like this topic. You know, there's a lot good in here, Nihilus. You got, you know, you go to school, you feel like you could be having a part-time job. The places you want to work aren't hiring. And like what Ryan was talking about was so valuable. Sometimes you take a job that's available because of the experience that's available from having that job. You know, hey, I've had jobs that may have seemed demeaning, you know, like the lowest person on the totem pole at a grocery store where I'm mopping the floors and bagging the groceries. That was back when they had people that just strictly bagged groceries, right? And I was the guy that
still do at one of the places near me.
They do? Hey, cool. Mm-hmm. Hey, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. But you know, that person who bags the groceries also cleans the toilets and, you know, does all the stuff that nobody else wants to do. And they also get picked on and get told to mop the walk-in freezer because they think that'll be funny.
No. That's mean.
Yeah. So I did it. That was like one of my first days on the job. They're like, hey, go mop the walk-in freezer. I'm like, really? Yep. Okay. So I did it. And then they're like, where you been? I'm like, I mopped the walk-in freezer. They're like, you actually did that? Yeah. You told me to do it. You know what?
I'm here to work.
Man, you're so gullible. There was a time when I was working 3 jobs. Most jobs I've ever worked in my life. Right? What all was I doing? Oh my gosh. What were those 3 jobs? I was a property inspector. I had just started doing property inspections. I was working at a grocery store almost full time, as a whatever they needed, like a stocker or cashier or anything person, right? And I was also doing coding products for the AC Nielsen company. So I'd go around to different stores and find products and do all this stuff, right? And so 2 of these jobs I could fit in on my own schedule, and one of them I actually had an hourly, time. Like they made the schedule for me. So it was hard. That's a lot of work all the time. And so here's the thing. If you're worried about the fact that you administer 2 clubs and you're part of the student council and you've got school and you're not sure if you have the time, if you think you might, there's no shame in trying to measure your capacity. Treat it like an experiment. Because you might surprise yourself at what you can handle. But also, in that experiment, you have to really, really pay attention to yourself and your reactions. If you start to see yourself getting really frustrated or stressed out or angry or depressed or anxious, then you might have bitten off too much. And you can scale back like Ryan was talking about. You can just let him know, hey, man, this is just too much for my plate right now. I can't do this. And depending on what's going on in your life, you may or may not be able to handle it. I went through this. I did the same thing twice at different points in my life. They were only a few months apart. So over the summer, I picked up a whole bunch of extra inspections work when I was still doing inspections. And it was fine.
I feel good to say.
It did, man. Oh my gosh.
When I was still doing inspections, like, because you don't do them anymore.
And I don't do them anymore. It was great. But yes, that felt really good to say. But and it's funny, like Ryan was talking about, like when you do a job, you're serving people, and doing inspections, I really didn't feel like I was serving people. I was serving people documents from time to time.
Oh yeah, that's right. That is a job where it doesn't feel like you're serving anybody.
No, it doesn't. It feels like you're just making a whole bunch of people angry all the time. But anyway, so I picked up a whole bunch of extra inspections work at this time, and they had bugged me about it and bugged me about it and bugged me about it like 3 times. I kept turning them down, and then finally they were like, okay, look, we have this many orders for this area, and so it's basically going to be this amount of extra money for like 3 or 4 days worth of work. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. I had some goals. I had this microphone I wanted to buy. I had some other gear I wanted to buy. And so I was like, yeah, I'll take it. And you know what? I did just fine. I took on the extra work, and I did okay. Fast forward a few months, and I took on some extra work again. But my life situation had changed. I was now facing a divorce and custody battle, and that was kind of in the background before, but now it was upon me, and I'm dealing with all these things, trying to coordinate lawyers. I had a therapist trying to help me sort through my thoughts. There was all kinds of stuff going on, and my life looked a lot different when I took on this extra work a second time. And it was less work. It was not as much. But after I took that on, it just was debilitating because of everything else surrounding me, right? So it was crazy because I was like, I did this before. Why am I so affected by this now? And it's like, oh yeah, it's because of everything else going on. It's because now I have a whole bunch of extra added stressors going on, right? And so you really got to learn to pay attention to yourself. And then so finally, after I took that second batch of extra work, and I got some from 2 of my different clients, and and then I had to tell him, look, I got to shut off the extra work now. I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore. And then I think it was like 2 days later, I put in my 30-day notice with him, where I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be an inspector anymore. So, yeah. And so, but it's funny, like Ryan was saying, if you do a good job and you work hard and you do get to that point where it's too much and you're like, I got to stop, I can't do this anymore. If you do a good job, your employer is going to be like, hey, if you get to the point where you need a job again, let me know. You're welcome to come on back. And it's hilarious because that's so true. I worked hard as an inspector. I did a good job. I won't deny that. Because I did. I worked hard. And my clients all told me, I was always one of the top inspectors because I got stuff in on time, or in a timely fashion, because sometimes they assign stuff to you that's already late, and then
yeah, they're like, hey, can you do this one? It's due 2 days ago. Nope. I can't do it 2 days ago.
It won't be in on time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was funny. I called there was a little bit of a discrepancy on one of my pay stubs, and so I ended up emailing one of my clients, and it was hilarious. I had agreed to do these inspections, all this extra work in this area, for like $5 per inspection, right? I get the pay stub, and the pay stub says each one of these is $6.15 per inspection. So they're going to pay me an extra $1.15 for each inspection. And I was like, and it was crazy. There were probably like 180 of them or something, So it was going to be like a $200 difference, or whatever. And I'm like, is my character on sale for $200? No. So I sent him an email and I said, you know what? I think I agreed to do these for $5. I'm not going to complain if you want to pay me extra money. But I just wanted to make sure you were aware that I agreed to do these for $5, and but you're free to pay me $6.15 if you want. They sent me an email back, and they were like, what they say? They were like, well, I thought they were at $6.15, so if I'm wrong, Merry frickin' Christmas.
Nice.
And I was like, all right, I'm not going to complain. So then I got that message, and I was like, I called him, and I'm like, I was going to talk to the manager person, and she was not available. So I got directed to the owner of the company. He answered the phone, hey, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, this is Joe Anderson. And one of the first things out of his mouth, are you coming back?
Yeah.
Nope, I'm not coming back. But I did want to tell you that this manager of yours needs a raise. And not just because she paid me extra for these, but because she was always really awesome. She kept me going in the field on days when I really wanted to quit. Calling her, she was really helpful, and she knew what she was doing. And he's like, actually, she got a raise last week. I was like, perfect.
Give her another one. No.
Give her another one.
She should have another one this week too. No.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, yeah, that happens. They'll want you back if you do a good job. And then maybe your life situation changes. Maybe a couple things drop off the table. You have the time, and you would enjoy doing it, and you can go do it. But, there's value in work. There's value in putting forth an effort. And, when you get into the job, it can be hard, because I know that when I'm doing a job just for money, I don't like it as much. I have to find something in the work that I want to do well. And then I can be more happy with the work. Like even when I was working at a grocery store, the money wasn't all that great. They didn't pay all that much money. So, but I knew I needed the money Because why else would I work 3 jobs if I didn't need all that money? I have kids. I've got, there's all kinds of stuff I need to pay for, you know. So I'm working really hard. But while I was at work, if all I thought about was the money I was going to be making, it wasn't fulfilling at all. I had to find stuff in the job that I could focus on doing well, and then the money kind of takes care of itself. Does that make sense? It was the same way when I was a commissioned salesperson at a music instrument store. So we worked on commission. So the stuff we sold, we got a percentage of the stuff we sold. Anytime I would be printing off my commission numbers to see how much I was making that month, my sales would go down. And it would be frustrating because I was paying attention to the number of the money I was making. But if I just focused on doing the best job I could to help customers, then my sales would those were my best months. And I wasn't even paying attention to my numbers. So there's a little key point in there. Find something in whatever job you're doing that's enjoyable, that you can work hard at, that you can do well. Because really, I mean, if you're not going to do something to the best of your ability, why do it? It's not going to be as fun. It's really the most fun we have is when we're trying hard. And so that's why I would encourage you, even if you have what you think is a full plate with your clubs and school and everything that you got going on in student council, it might be worthwhile to have a job. There's a saying, if you want something done, get a busy person to do it. You ever heard that saying before? Because they're going to do it well. There's truth in that. Because they know how to manage their time. But, as I said before and as Ryan said before, pay attention to yourself and don't let yourself get carried away. Don't let yourself get too stressed out. Pay attention to your reactions, your stress levels, your anger levels, your anxiety levels, all these things. Because if that starts to go up, there's a good chance that you might have too much on your plate and it's time to just let go of some. So we do have limits. We are human. But anyway, I've talked for a while. I'm sorry. Ryan, did you have anything else?
I only have one quick thing, and that is on the account of work ethic. Joe was talking about find something in that job that you enjoy doing, that you want to do a good job at, or think about the people that you're helping, that sort of thing. Regardless of whatever job it is that you get, even if it's like, oh man, I've always wanted this job, and you get it, you still have to think about those things. Because I was going to give you a really quick example. I worked at Taco Bell, right? Mm-hmm. And when I was working there, this is actually the same place I was telling you, the person I respected the most that worked there was someone who's younger than me, and he was working, he was at school, and he was coming in for a part-time job. Anyways, when I was working there, I heard people a couple of times talk about how they're just there for the money, right? And it's not good money, but the only reason they're working there is because they need the money. And they looked like it. They walked everywhere they went, and it was not a fast walk. And this is fast food. And let me tell you, everybody else ran. Everybody would run to their next objective, always.
And that's a slippery floor at a restaurant.
And it's a slippery floor, yeah, for sure. Well, we always did it.
Yeah.
I mean, you learn how to slip glide and whatever to your destination. But yeah, like I'm working dishes, then I gotta go to the drive-thru. It's completely across the other side of the store. I run, right? You get someone in that same position as me, who's there just for the money. They're like, the only reason I'm working here is because I need money. And then, they're answering the machine. They're walking very slowly across to the, place where they have to open up, and they're just talking to the customer, and they're going slow, and they get up to the front door. The other person's waiting for them. Not up front door. I meant the drive-through window. The person's already there waiting for them when they get there, It's not right. And why I say it's not right is it wrong? It's not a sin, but when everybody else around you is running with enthusiasm and they have a smile on their face and you don't, yeah, you got to check yourself. And the people that I found that I had the least respect for were the people that were just slumming their way through the workday. And usually what they would say is, I just work here for the money. You know, they don't care about anything else. They don't care about, serving that customer. They don't care about making someone smile. They don't care about how fast their times were. They don't care about like, sweet, did you see how fast I made that taco? It was like 0.1 seconds. It was nuts.
0.1 second.
It was like, and it was done. If you see me wrap that burrito, it was so good. They don't care. They don't have any pride in their work. They don't have any like, man, I'm getting better. I'm doing better at this job. And there was none of that. It was just, I'm here for the money, and there's nothing to it. And it showed. So I'm just kind of seconding what Joe was saying. There's nothing wrong with working for money. That's why we have to work. But that's not true. We have to work because we want food. We want shelter. We have things we want. And money helps us get those things. Right? And that's why we work. But work is also something to be cherished. It's dignified. It is something that builds character and builds repertoire, builds honor, builds your friendship with people. It does a lot of things, right? So, and it helps people, right? So it's a good thing that we get to work as human beings, and just don't lose sight of that. I'm sure that not unless you already know all of this, you're a very good, upstanding young individual. You don't need us telling you this, but we're just trying to pack it into your brain so that you don't forget it, because there will come days where you lose it. And you got to remind yourself like, oh yeah, I don't need to be down. I should be happy that I'm here. Because some days you need that extra boost. But yeah, anyways, that's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to add on.
Perfect.
Back to you, Joe.
That's perfect. I think that's a great way to leave it. So, Nihilus, thank you so much for the topic. My best wishes to you when you're deciding. I see you in the chat. You can already relate to that when in school, looking at the clock and thinking when school will be over will make it feel like it takes much longer compared to if you just focus on working and letting the time pass. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. When we're thinking about the resources involved and not the task at hand, the resources don't turn out looking good for us.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, I'm glad it's been helpful. Nihilus, you're awesome. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, really is.
And thank you so much for the topic. And that's a really important one because, man, if I'd have known some of the things that I know now that I had to learn through experience, I'd have made some different decisions along the way, maybe.
Yeah.
Although I am pretty bullheaded, I guess, at times. But we are at a point in the show. I'm going to ask permission from Ryan and Princess. Do you want to do another topic? I promised Garrow. I told Garrow we'd do the topic.
Yeah, we told Garrow that we would. I'm fine with that.
Would you mind staying an extra 10, 15 minutes after 10?
Sure.
All right, cool. So Garrow, are you still here? Well, we should ask. Garrow, are you still here? Because if you're not here, we'll shut this whole thing down early. That'll be good. If not, if you are here, we'd be glad to do your topic. Hey, that's all right.
It's all right.
Because I'm Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're going to do your topic, Garrow, because I said we were going to.
He says it's all right, as in, like, you don't have to do it. He says it's super old. But
super old. November 17th. That's not super old.
Yeah. It's called Friend Zoned.
Friend Zoned.
I guess another important question is it's old, but do you still want it covered or no?
Oh, you're fine to save it for later.
for a day when we don't have a topic.
All right. Oh my gosh, it's 4 a.m. for you, Nihilus. Yeah, go to bed, man.
Oh my gosh. Go to bed. Thanks
Go to
for being here,
bed.
Nihilus. You're awesome.
I love this in the chat. Will you be able to stick around if we do it? Good.
Gabriel just wants us to save it for another time. So I'm okay with that.
All right. I'm okay with that too. So, all right. So here's what's going to happen next then. We're going to end the show.
Uh-oh. Gary, did you change your mind?
Garo, did you change your
If you change your mind, I stop existing. Please. Please change your mind. As soon as the show's gone, I'm off. I disappear. You can't see me anymore. I stop existing.
You do not. You're going to be in Discord VC playing Starbound.
Maybe.
Because that's where
Yeah.
I'm going to eventually end up, I think.
I might be there.
I got a
Might
few
be.
things to do first, but yeah. So anyway, Garo, yeah, we'd be happy to. No, I didn't.
I don't remember.
What?
I don't remember what either of us said to trigger that response. No,
Yeah,
I didn't. But I
don't
wish
either.
I had a brain that could remember that. But apparently, I've not been gifted with that talent of memory.
Yeah. All right. You're fine to save it for later. You know, we can save it for later. That's no problem. You know, we'd be happy to do it another time. And yeah,
Then-
that way it's always nice because then we don't feel like we're rushed. You know,
Mhm.
we can take our
That's true.
time and stretch our legs and spend 45 minutes on it.
Yeah. We can press cruise control at 5 miles an hour down that expressway so we can get the full view of the surroundings.
Full view. My mind has not changed. Y'all can shut it down. Haha. All right. No problem. Well, you know, we will be here again next Wednesday. And I just want to let you guys know we will be having a staff meeting tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yeah. I talked yesterday to Kyle. He's our other full-time person now. I get to talk to Ryan more now, which is great because, you know, when we work full-time together, even though we're not in the same place, we get to talk on the phone. It's good. But I was talking to Ryan's brother, Kyle, and one of the things that we talked at length about was Theology Thursday.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to do Theology Thursday.
Me too.
Yeah. The only issue is we're going to need other people of other backgrounds because the 3 full-time people at Black Static and Swerve are Catholic. So it's going to be really
Boo.
stacked in the Catholic
No.
direction. We need some non-Catholic perspective. And I'd really like a lot of other world religions as well, you know. You know, it'd be really cool if we could find Buddhists or Hindu or Muslim and all kinds of non-Christian religions. As well.
Scientology.
Oh, Kyle
That would
Kyle
be
mentioned
intense.
Scientology.
Did
Yep.
he?
Yeah, yep.
Nice. Not very many of those guys.
Nope, and they're all in Hollywood.
And they're all, yeah. We'll have to, well, hey, if we get someone from Scientology, you know, then we'll be going up there, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. Yes, actually, Saule, I have been reading other religions' sacred text. I'm in the middle of the Quran right now, the Muslim sacred text. I've gone through the Book of Mormon and all their scriptures, the Doctrines and Covenants, the Pearl of Great Price, all that stuff. And the thing about Theology Thursday is I'd really like to make it something where we can find our common ground. There's a lot of shows out there where people debate about religion and get mad at each other and all that kind of stuff. But what if
Yeah,
we
that's not
could,
really that useful.
yeah, what if we could find where we agree? I have a friend who's a universalist.
Oh, there you go. Oh, wait. I have that same friend.
You do?
I have a friend who's a universalist, probably a different friend.
Oh,
Then.
yeah. I was gonna say because it was the bass player from Headband,
Oh, nice.
and
This
you know
was
he
one
and I
of
would
our
sit in the
voice
hot
actors.
tub. Oh, really? Is he a universalist?
Yeah, I think she's a universalist.
Nice.
I'd have to confirm.
Yeah. Yeah, which is interesting. Their religion is based on the Sermon on the Mount.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, which is very interesting. You know, there's so
Uh-huh.
many interesting nuances out there. And if we can come together and talk and find some common ground, I think that'd be really, really helpful.
Yeah.
You know, I think that'd be cool. So,
That'd be very nice.
Anyway, all right. Thank you guys so much for being here for Don't Worry Wednesday. You guys are amazing. Again, this show is all about you. If you have a topic that you want us to cover on Don't Worry Wednesday, you can put it in the chat. You can, well, you can't anymore. You can send us an email, dww@bss.studio. You can post it on our website, bss.studio, and or find us on Discord. Direct message us on Discord. Join the Static P Friends server, because you know what? You're going to find us there in the voice chat probably fairly frequently playing some Starbound, which is a fun game. And you could join the Starbound server, which is a lot of fun too, right? Is that in the Static P Friends Discord, is that a pinned message or something?
Yes.
Okay. So if you go to the Starbound channel on that server, and it's the pinned
message is the Google document that has everything you need to know about the Starbound.
Yes, because it is a modded game. Ryan worked for a year, more than a year.
Almost. I looked at when I got the game, and it was the third month of this year? Yeah, it was the third month of this year, and I probably played it for less than half a month before. Probably half a month before I started modding it. So,
okay.
So almost a year, couple months shy.
All right. Yeah, but Ryan worked really hard putting together mods and all that kind of stuff, and it's big. So like it'll take you a little bit of time to download the mods and the assets, you know. But all the instructions are there on that Google Doc and the Starbound thing, and you know you can connect and we can play and have a good time. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we would love to hang out with you and play some video games and all that stuff. You guys are amazing. We love you, and come back next Wednesday when we have another episode of Don't Worry Wednesday. And Garrow, hopefully you're here and we'll do your topic then.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys so much for your topics. Thanks for your support. Thanks for being here with us. We'll see you next time on Don't Worry Wednesday. We love you guys.
Bye-bye. Peace.